I feel like she has in her career several times gone through this motion of trying to defend herself but being penalized for it. So no one's saying that you can't have laws and rules and things set in place to govern people, but you want it to be applied equally to everyone. And so that's what I think a lot of the talk has been surrounding this Serena controversy that happened this weekend is, you know, we had the tennis player almost 2 weeks ago that took off her shirt during a match, and guys take off their shirt all the time. You want the laws applied equally. So people were talking about this, saying, you know, she called the ref. It's not
the
a
umpire,
referee.
the umpire, chair umpire. Yep.
Look, it's not a referee. She called the umpire a thief, and you know they say the guy is cursed.
John McEnroe made it famous in the '80s.
Okay, but I was a baseball umpire as my first gig, and I worked as umpire and official of many different sports all through high school and through college. And look, here's the thing: you might be able to say, yeah, there is a double standard league-wide, but when you're just talking about one isolated match, the umpire has to follow the rules that they've been given and issue the fines, or not the fines, but the penalties accordingly. And the coach admitted afterwards that they was coaching. That is illegal. That is not something that can be done. She exacerbated the situation by continuing to fire back. Now, look, and every umpire and every ref has a different threshold for how much they're going to allow a player to chat back at them. But she just kept on going back to it. At one point, she broke her racket. That was another violation.
It was like multiple things like that.
But for me, it's like, look, she's a champion of the game. 24. She's going for 24 times. I mean, like, she's an amazing woman and an icon in the sport. But there are rules for everyone. It doesn't matter how good you are.
Hey, as John says it, this is such a split one, and I'm split in how I feel about it. I do think Serena went a little bit overboard, but so has John McEnroe. So has Roger Federer. This has been commonplace in the game. They're all wrong. It was just interesting to see how she was treated with this. This was called a meltdown from Serena. Serena, which I've never seen in all my time watching tennis, was penalized an entire game for this. I guess the biggest thing is when we watch other sports, when we watch LeBron James or Michael Jordan in his heyday, they got the benefit of the whistle, is what we always said. Oh, they're not going to call a foul. That's LeBron James. Serena, people continue to come after her, and she is not only the greatest tennis player ever, arguably the greatest athlete ever. So to see this disrespect that continually happens to her, whether she's right or wrong, it's just that benefit that she doesn't seem to get is interesting to me.
She's a very passionate player. She's always been that, and she's always shown that, and it's just she's being penalized for being that way when other people aren't. So I'm not saying, you know, oh, you shouldn't, you know, maybe she didn't maintain her composure.
You don't agree?
She did not maintain her composure. But I'm saying that other people do this and don't get treated the way that she does.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
And you're right. There's a broader conversation to be had about sexism, racism in sports, how rules are applied, how different regulations are. But when I just look at that individual match, I don't know that umpire's history in issuing these penalties. Maybe he does do them equally. Maybe he doesn't. But in that moment, he was absolutely right to do what he did, and the match was decided correctly, in my opinion.
The biggest loser in the whole thing, Naomi Osuna.
Yeah.
Because this was a young woman who idolized Serena Williams, idolized her. And in this moment, when they announced her as the winner, New York and the U.S. Open crowd booed her so ridiculously to the point where Serena gracefully took the mic and said, do not boo this woman, let her enjoy the moment. She was crying, had to pull her visor down and apologize to the crowd for winning. It's just a bad look in how everything turned out. But you got to move forward with it. It's definitely a hot button issue people have been talking about all weekend. So Serena's going to break that record. It's coming. I promise. It is coming.
Well, I think there's no time limit you can put on it. There's not. It's individual to each person, each relationship.
What is that benchmark moment where you feel like, okay, now my significant other can't have issue with it?
I think it's before the engagement. I think it's when love is exchanged. But I think one interesting point that they brought up, I don't know exactly which rules they're talking about, but hey, you go off and you do your own things. I think that there do need to be an established sort of guidelines, and like you need to be there for the kids X amount of time. Like there needs to be some individual responsibility on both ends before you introduce it. You need to be doing your role as a father before you get to do that and bring someone else into it. So it's a very individual thing, but I think it's an important thing for the kids.
There's proper protocol, though.
Right.
I will say that. And having been somebody in the position, with the mother of my child, my son Carter, there's protocol. Meaning, I let her know when something. I let her know first.
Okay.
Hey, I'm dating somebody. It's getting kind of serious.
Right.
I want you to know that. I'm gonna be judicious with when I decide to introduce our son to this person, but I want you to meet them first, so you know what this woman is like. Okay. And then when you know that, and you get the approval, because I'm ready for my child to meet then let's do it. That's how I handle it. It's not for everybody, but it opens up those lines of communication. So the mother, who, let me tell you, they are fiercely protective of their baby cub.
Right.
And they want to make sure that they are protected first. That opens that line up so everybody's on the same page.
It's just so situational. Like, because what about, you know, a guy who barely sees his child? He may see his child once a month. Like, I don't know if I can trust you as a father to know what's best for my kid. It's just so situational. As far as the Kardashian one, I just don't like how Kourtney Kardashian has handled that whole Scott Disick relationship altogether, because they've been on and off. They've been in the family, out of the family. It's just gone back and forth so much. That's why everyone's so confused. That's why the entire family.
You guys tell me. I feel like if Kris Kardashian or Kris Kardashian now for sure, if she could pick loyalties, not pick one because it's her own blood, but I feel like she's closer to Scott Disick and has his back more than she has Kourtney's back.
These days,
That's what it seems like, right?
Because he's been around so much, he feels like part of the family.
Like she's rooting for him, like he's the underdog kind of deal.
Yeah, but it's just like Kourtney should have cut it off a long time ago. Again, they've been back and forth, so now this family has this huge relationship with him, and it's just like, and I know once you have children with someone, you can never like cut them off completely, but. It's such a gray area. Respect is big, though, people at home. Respect, if you can have that.